In this video, we will learn how calls are charged in the Cloud PBX scenario. When the customer signs a contract with a Cloud PBX provider, they agree to a tariff plan, which is applicable either to a specific phone line or all phone lines that are activated under this customer. The per minute charge for the call depends on the following parameters. First of all, on the call type. Incoming calls are usually free of charge, while outgoing calls are charged according to the rate defined for a specific destination in the tariff. Then, of course, it depends whether it's a call within the same Cloud PBX environment of a customer or if it's a call to a landline or a mobile phone. Calls made within the service provider's Cloud PBX network are typically free, and this feature is commonly used for residential VoIP services that target the mass market. For instance, suppose that Jane and Sarah are both customers of Super Telecom, which provides not only Cloud PBX but also residential VoIP services. When they call each other, the call remains within the service provider's network and is generally free of charge. In PortaSwitch terms, this call is called an on-net call. Many providers offer free calls between retail customers as a way to encourage them to invite their friends and family members to join the same service provider. Now let's discuss the calls within the same Cloud PBX environment of a Cloud PBX customer. Such calls are relevant only for business customers. Let's say ABC Enterprise is an international company with offices or sites in both Vancouver, Canada and Barcelona, Spain. Both offices have local DID phone numbers. However, Spanish employees normally call Canadian employees using short numbers extensions. They can also use DID numbers, but it's less convenient because the number to dial is longer. Such calls are free as they do not leave the Cloud PBX environment of ABC Enterprise. It doesn't matter where the short number, the extension was dialed, or the full DID number was dialed. The call stays inside the same Cloud PBX environment. This is an extension-to-extension call. If John decides to call Larry from the sales department in the same Canadian office, we will also be talking about an extension-to-extension call, just like in our previous example. An extension-to-extension call is a subcategory of an on-net call we discussed earlier. If, on the other hand, ABC Enterprises employee John decides to call his customer's mobile phone to offer them the latest promotional deals, such a call does leave the Cloud PBX provider's environment and is delivered to the customer via an external operator, called vendor in the PortaSwitch terminology. As more parties are involved, it's only logical that such calls are more expensive. In PortaSwitch, calls to landlines or mobile numbers are called off-net calls. Now that we've talked about different types of calls, let's talk about a couple of configuration details. The rates for outgoing on-net and off-net calls, and also for incoming calls, are defined as rates in the tariff that is associated with the main product. And as you remember, the main product is always assigned to the phone line. For example, our basic Cloud PBX product includes free incoming calls and free extension-to-extension calls. Pay-as-you-go rates to EU destinations are defined at 8 cents per minute. This rate will be applied after the 1,000 free minute bundle included in the product is exhausted. How does PortaBilling know which rates should be applied to each call type? We can use special destinations to set different rates both for incoming and outgoing calls. VOICEONNET is a special destination that describes any calls inside the service provider's network. For example, calls between two different residential VoIP customers of the same service provider. VOICEONNET RX is a special destination that is used to describe calls between extensions of the same cloud PBX environment. For example, between John from marketing and Larry from sales. VOICEONNET R is used when a reseller is involved. It allows describing calls between customers of the same reseller. But we are not going to talk about resellers at this point. Incoming calls are charged similarly. The special destinations incoming RX, and incoming R work exactly the same as their analog counterparts for outgoing calls. Let's go to our PortaBilling web UI. Let's open our pre-created test tariff, Test Cloud PBX, which is used by our Test Cloud PBX product. Let's go to Rates, Add Rate tab. All incoming calls are going to be free. For all incoming calls without making a distinction between on and off net calls, we can use a special destination, incoming. To save a rate, we need a price, so we are going to enter 0 and click Save. And for calls between extensions of the same company, we are going to add VOICEONNET RX. Okay, let's add VOICEONNET RX. And these calls are going to be free also. Let's click Save. And now let's add calls to our pre-configured destination group EU at 8 cents per minute. So now we choose destination group, EU, and it's going to be 8 cents per minute. Let's click Save again. We have a separate video on destination groups and destination group sets in our Advanced Residential VoIP course chapter. You will find the link in the description. Extension-to-extension calls are delivered using the SIP UA connection within PortaSwitch. No other carriers are involved except the operator that provides the cloud PBX services. Calls that pass through SIP UA connection do not generate any additional costs. This connection is just used to collect statistics on intra-company calls. Let's see where we can find this on our web UI. Let's go to Infrastructure, Vendors, and choose the vendor that is called Internal. All other vendors defined in the system are external. Next, we can check the connections that our internal vendor has. We see that there is a SIP UA connection. This is the connection used to deliver calls between SIP devices within the cloud PBX provider's network. How can we tell an external connection from an internal connection? Let's click it. We see that the internal toggle is enabled, and this tells us that this is an internal connection that is used only for internal calls. Each connection has its own vendor tariff assigned to it. However, the rates in the internal tariff are usually 0 because it doesn't use any external network elements. In the next video, we are going to start with the first part of our practical task. We are going to configure Cloud PBX service for Super Telecom so that they can start providing it to their customers.